Hello, welcome to Coach Marketing Mastery. We're here with Scott and Misty. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
All
Thanks.
right. So, of course, this is Coach Marketing Mastery. It's all things marketing for coaches, entrepreneurs, and authors. And we are having an event coming up called the Automated Marketing Summit coming up Friday, the 27th at 12 noon. I'm really excited about that. And these are our keynote speakers. And I just kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit, like starting with Misty. What are some of the things you're going to be going over? And I know that I really like the name of your keynote. So what is that, and what are we going to be talking about?
Yeah, so I've recently been bringing this up because I think a lot of entrepreneurs are feeling this from what I've been hearing. And
Don't give away the secret.
Oh, I'm not giving the secret, but I think entrepreneurs are feeling it. Marketers aren't really talking about it that I can see, but the old lead gen tactics aren't working like they used to. I think, we all three of us work in the marketing space, and we've probably seen it ourselves. I know I have. And so I'm going to be talking about effortless leads and the secrets to frictionless lead generation. So it's a little twist from, the normal stuff that we talk about.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was on, and I try my hardest to not belittle people in Facebook or in social media or put them down or like, but I saw a Facebook ad today and it said, forget the funnels, forget the webinar, like forget all this stuff, do this new thing. Yeah. And so I clicked on it on her Facebook ad and it went to ClickFunnels. And I was like, okay, so I mean, I'm trying to figure out what exactly you're trying to say here. So your message really, and yours really does. Like this is why people need to attend the Automated Marketing Summit, is because what you're doing. No one, I haven't heard of it until I heard of it from you.
Yeah.
So absolutely. It's really super ninja. And Scott, you're going to be going over some inbox email. Now, this is since the Google slap this earlier this year, what are some of the things that some of the challenges people have had recently?
Yeah, there's a lot changing in the world of email marketing, and it continues to evolve. So everybody's probably aware from the conversations we had way back in January and February. It's like, oh, you got to get all this authentication stuff in place. And that's still true. But Google and Yahoo are heavily cracking down on people who are not managing their engagement. And I am having more and more conversations with people about the problems that they're experiencing. Their emails not getting delivered, domain reputations getting tanked, like all kinds of stuff that people just really aren't aware of, because that wasn't the core message way back when. But now it's really a thing. And it's time for everybody to pay attention to that, because honestly, if you follow Misty's methods of getting the leads, which we all want, right? But if your emails don't get to their inboxes, the follow-up that you do, what good is it? Right? So it all ties really close together.
So I've been saying for the past over 5 years that the open rate is dead as dead. What do you think about that statement?
It's 100% true. As a matter of fact, I was just sharing with somebody earlier today. I don't know if this was on their original, help desk or not, but Google now explicitly states, and I'm reading it verbatim, Google doesn't track open rates. Yeah. Google doesn't track open rates. They don't care if you, oh, I got 75% open rate. Oh, I got 10% open rate. Google doesn't care.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't either. Like Google rates, open rates are somewhat important to kind of help gauge some things, but they are not the most important thing. And unfortunately, that's still what everybody defaults to.
Oh, yeah. And it's like some of these clients that I have, they're like, oh, well, I got an 89%. I'm like, look, this is what your open rate is. I click on it with my right button and I click delete. That's an open. I'm not reading it. And we're not getting the engagement. We're not getting the replies. We're not getting the click-throughs.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Misty? I know you're really into this marketing as well.
Yeah. I say it all the time. Email service providers don't want you in the inbox.
Yeah.
Like they just don't. If you're a marketer, if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to sell your stuff, they don't want you showing up in people's inboxes. They want this to be, where friends and family are kind of conversing in that. And so one of the things that I talk about often is a multi-channel list building strategy. That's one of the things I'll talk about at the summit is listen, as it stands today, and I'm sure Scott can give you a statistic on this, we just all know that email deliverability, well, email is still one of the best ways to market your business, right? Hands down in terms of ROI.
Yeah.
But I think we're foolish if we don't insulate and secure our business by having a multi-channel marketing approach. And specifically to list building, we need more than one way to communicate with folks because they just don't want us in the inbox anymore. They're doing things now, making changes to make it harder for us to get into the inbox. And hey, rightfully so. I'll speak on behalf of marketers. We've done a really crappy job in honoring people's inboxes in years past. And so we need to get what the strategies that used to work do not work anymore. And we need to get better at what we're doing. And so that's what we're going to talk about at the summit. Well, at least I am. And he's going to talk about how to get the emails opened and delivered and all the other things that come.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that multi-channel marketing strategy. I mean, we have to go back to that because, as Dan Kennedy says, 1 is the worst number that you can have in business, literally. And I mean, even when I was in the IT industry and, serving businesses with MSP services, there were some micro businesses, they had 1 computer that they did everything on. It was their point of sale. It was their, credit card processing. It's where they kept all their books and everything. Inevitably, that computer is going to fail or it's going to need to go to the shop. And that's the only one that you have. So 1 of anything in business is never a good number. And so using that multi-channel marketing strategy is going to be so important to adopt.
Yeah. Well, you just made me really nervous there because I do have I have it right here, my backup, but there's times, like my backup drive, because I'm on a desktop. I have a laptop over here, but I have if my power goes out, all the power to this stays on.
Yeah.
Because I'm a digital marketer, right?
Yep.
But that is, one of the things you're saying about this multi-channel thing and with honoring the email, but it's also social media. So a lot of in social media, they don't want you putting a link in your content, even though I do that, send them out to the website. A lot of people are like, DM me for the details. And then you got to really get busy in there. I don't know how much you guys do that type of marketing, but what are your thoughts on that channel?
That's one of the strategies I'm going to teach at the summit. So he told me not to talk strategy. I'm trying not to. Well, I love giving away the secrets.
Yeah.
But there's a way to streamline that so that you don't have to be sitting with your phone, or on social media all day long. So that's what I'll talk about is the tools that we use. How do we streamline it? What is the actual strategy so that it doesn't, here's the thing. I think anyone listening who knows and understands marketing is that, it's chatbots, it's AI, powering this. But the thing is this behind the strategy is making sure that your consumer doesn't know that it's AI, right? And making it feel, and there are ways to do that. And so that's what we'll dive into more.
Yeah. I'll be going over automated list management. So a lot of people, and we're Keep partners, but also we do go high level. I've been with Green Rope since their inception when they were beta. So I get that for $10 a month, when it's a couple $100 a month. But the thing is, with the list management, a lot of people will never click the button because it just takes you to non-marketable or unengaged non-marketable, and it kills that lead. So I'm like, how do you keep that alive at 30, 40, 60, 9 months? If they're not interacting, if they're not engaging, how do you get people engaged? One of the things, I'll give away a secret right now on this call, and a lot of people do this, is and people don't understand this, but when you make that customer service call and they email you going on a scale of 1 to 10, or there's 5 stars on a scale of 1. Why am I the smallest screen? But anyhow, on a scale of 1 to 5, right? What did you think of our customer service? And they give you 5 stars. They don't really care if you say a 1 or a 3. If you click on it, that puts you back to day 1 on your list, right? So if you're at 6 months and you haven't interacted or engaged, and they blast out that email and you're like, oh yeah, it was a 2. Well, now you're engaged. And a lot of people don't know it's something as simple as that. And we're going to give you a lot more at the summit, but that's just one little nugget we'll give away right now. What are some ways that you guys get people to engage, whether it's social media, texting, or I want to add one thing real quick, because I got an email the other day and the lady said, hey, I don't know if you got the workbook for my event coming up, but would you like me to send it to you, or just click this link? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, she's giving you 2 options.
Yeah.
So do you ever see anything like that you're kind of like, oh, that's kind of interesting?
I've not seen too many people give options like that in an email. And really that's best practice in every offer that you make. Give people more than one way to respond. If you want them to, click, go to your landing page, give them the URL that they can click on or type in, put a QR code that they can scan with their phone. There's a lot of different ways, but give people multiple modalities to get where you want them to go. Just like even in your email content, one of the things that I always encourage people to do is change up how you're presenting your information. Don't make every email just a wall of text. Change it up. Put a video in for every other email. Do an audio. I've got one client that they put in audio messages. Like, people learn in different ways, and it's something different. And when you can show up in a different way, people will pay attention and they'll engage.
Right.
I just did an event not too long ago, and I incorporated audio messages in there. And they're super easy to do. You can record them on your phone, upload them to your media file on your website, and then put them in the email. And what it does is it forces the individual to click. And that's an engagement, right? And that's what Google wants to, well, I call all the Googles of the world. Whoever else fits in there.
I just
Yeah. So it forces the person to have to click to engage with the content that you're sending. And that's the key here, is that, we can't just send, a block wall of text, like you said, Scott. It's exactly right. So we have to get creative with that. And that goes back to that multi-channel approach too. I've been incorporating also, when we do events or if we deliver a lead magnet, is having Facebook Messenger kind of do the follow-up, where we're like, hey, I know that you asked for the ebook yesterday. Did you get a chance to take a look at it? Or if you know that they didn't click to download, because obviously, depending on the software that you're using, you can actually track that. You can say, hey, I noticed that you didn't download it. If you get a chance, here it is again. Right. Yeah. So it's communicating with people in a real human way. Like, if I send my mother-in-law a text and she doesn't get back to me, I'm like, a couple hours later, hey, what's going on? Why didn't you message me back? You know what I mean? Like, because that's what normal people do when they want an engagement.
I don't know. I'm happy when my mother-in-law doesn't reply. I'm not married.
I should say my kids. My mother-in-law would get back to me. My kids, not so much.
Right. Yeah.
And, I was having a conversation with another email marketer early this week, and we were talking about what he calls his imprinting sequence, which is basically a fancy name for a welcome sequence. But what you really want to do, and this is going to be, I'm sure Misty's probably going to touch on this, in the summit, but, after somebody opts in, you don't want to just stop with, hey, here's your thing, goodbye.
Yeah.
That's it, right? You've just burned that lead. But there's a methodical process that you really need to go through to, get them to know, like, and trust you, and to want more from you, and to learn. And from an email deliverability perspective, getting your emails delivered in all of those initial emails, because that's when they're the most hot. that's when they're really interested for what it is that you're offering. That's when you really want to try to get as much engagement as possible. So mix up your emails. Ian Stanley is known for this, but it's fantastic. But the first email, boom, goes out immediately. And it's like, here's the thing that you requested. 6 hours later, sends out an email. Hey, reply to this email and let me know that you got it.
Yep.
Like now it's changing that modality. The first one is asking for the click. The second email is asking for the reply. The two top ways that Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo are tracking engagement.
Yeah. And that goes into the dating thing of, hey, you want to have a cup of coffee? And then she or he says, yes, I'd love to have a cup of coffee. And then, hey, are we still on for that cup of coffee? And then they reply, yes. But I get kind of psycho. I ask them like 20. Next thing you know, we're not having coffee. Anyhow, don't ask me for dating advice. But, one of the things that this kind of brings up for me is that with the list management, those first 30 days are the most important days. And so there's a fine line. Like a lot of people go, well, how often should I email, or what time should I email? And it's like, well, are you a daily meditation? Did they ask for a daily meditation, right? Or are you something else? Because those first 30 days are the critical days, because once out of 30 days, that's when the list management is going to kick in around 30, 40 days. So what are you guys, it'd be in a general way. What are some, and without giving away too much, because we want them to come to the summit, but what are some things like a subject line that you could use? Like, hey, did you receive this? Are there other types of subject lines you guys ever think of putting out there?
I think we need to, when it comes to subject lines, we need to think less like marketers and sellers and more like humans, and just use subject lines that we would send to a friend. You know what I mean? Like, incorporating their name in the subject line is always good.
Yeah.
I find that keeping it short and sweet, we use, the new big thing is everybody's using emojis in their subject lines, and it helps stand out in the inbox. Now it used to, I should say.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden everybody's doing it, right? But the thing is like, I don't send emojis in subject lines when I send messages to friends, right? So we just need to think less like marketers and more like people.
Yeah.
That's my rule of thumb.
Well, yeah, because it's more personalized, because if you receive something that has emojis, someone had to take the time, and most people are just going to go, hey, and Ryan Dice, with Digital Marketer, he said his best open ever was his subject line was bad news. That was it.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obama's it was hey.
Yeah.
APY.
Yeah. That's a good way.
Yeah. The conversation that I had with the email marketer, interestingly, kind of going back to your question, it's like that 30 days is really critical. How often should I email? Number one is you need to set expectations. Okay. If you don't set expectations, hey, here's how often I'm going to email you, that's going to get you in major trouble with your recipients. So you're just going to tick them off. But the interesting fact, and he showed his statistics from his imprinting sequence, he emailed every single day. I think it was for like 2 weeks. And most people would just cringe at thinking of sending an email every single day. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have nobody on my list by the time I get done with that. His unsubscribes, even after that 14-day period, were less than the number of fingers you have on both hands.
Wow.
And I can tell you why. I think we need to tell everybody why.
Maybe they need to come to the summit and find out why.
They need to come to the summit for sure. Trust me, there's going to be a wealth of information shared there.
Yeah.
But the thing is the reason why is because when he captures their information, it's because he's solving a major problem.
Yeah.
The quality of your lead magnet, and that's one of the things I'm going to talk about at the summit. I have actually, what do I call it? It's I recently renamed it. I call it the evolution of a lead magnet. Right? Because in years past, we used to give away a lead magnet that was like the 10 things. Everybody had a freaking 10 things or the 6 things or the 8 things. It didn't matter what the number was, right? That you should or shouldn't do. But today, those lead magnets don't convert anymore.
Yeah.
Like people are on to you. They know this was something you kind of threw together and it wasn't really truly valuable. You know, when Ian's capturing leads, he's giving away something truly valuable, and they want help solving the problem. So when you've captured someone in the correct way and you're solving a major problem for them, they want to hear from you. You're doing them a disservice. That's like going to the doctor. I'm going to be extreme for a second, okay? You go to the doctor and you're like, man, I'm really sick. They run tests and they're like, yeah, mister, you got cancer. And then I don't hear from them for 6 months. I'm like, hello? Where are we going with this? Like, you gave me a diagnosis. You told me I had a problem. I know I have a problem. I want to fix this. And so, you know, I think we need to think of it like that. It's not, again, it's less strategy. It's more like I'm here to help you, and you said you wanted help, so like let's go. You know.
Yeah, I had someone on the podcast in the past, and they said something really interesting. Is, you know, when you go to the doctor and you break your arm, you know, he doesn't go, okay, go home and take these vitamins, right? Vitamins are healthy. I don't want a vitamin. I broke my arm. I need a pain reliever, right?
Yeah.
So if and then you want to check up, you know, are you taking your pain reliever correctly? But still, is just the point of just that context. They're both pills, but they both do different things. So are you sending a vitamin or are you sending a pain reliever?
I think we've gotten so caught up in our head. I know I'm going to speak for myself. I know I have. I've been rethinking all my marketing and how I communicate with folks. And because we've gotten so caught up into the rules of marketing, what time of day should I send it? How many, like all that we stopped being a human being and actually conversing with people in a real and authentic way. And with the rise of AI, that's actually what people want. And so, you know, if someone has has a problem and they want to solve, you're right, they don't want the vitamin, they want the cure. Like, let's fix this. And so we should do our due diligence and trying to, you know, move them forward faster. I think we get so caught up into marketing, we forget to ask for the sale. Like, let me help you. Let me fast forward. How quick do you want to, you know, how quick do you want this pain relief?
Yeah. Right. And speaking to that is, and I've always harped on this, is that your list, you need to have a relationship with your list. The worst thing that I can see that has happened, and I see this a lot because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups where, you know, you can offer to be a guest on somebody's podcast, or, you know, they're looking for guests, you know, whatever that case may be. But there's a lot of people that post, it's like, oh, we're looking for guests for our podcast, but you have to have a list size of 2,354 people. You know, that's a vanity metric that I don't know where it came from, but size does not matter of your list. It doesn't matter. It's the relationship that you have with your list. So if you've got 500 people that love everything that you send out, that could be your business. That may be all that you ever need. You don't need 500,000 people, but if you've got a good relationship with them, they're going to want to devour everything that you send their way. And that's the best thing that can help your email engagement, grow your bottom line. Like, it works wonders if you have that relationship, and forget about all of those rules of marketing. Mister, you're right. It doesn't matter what time you send the email. As long as they open the email, it doesn't matter if they open it at 7:15 in the morning or 11:42 at night.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 6 months from now. I actually I send out this thing. I use Dub, and I send out this like video thing, and I've had people setting appointments, and I'm like, who's this on my calendar? And I look, and I'm like, that was something I did 6 months ago, and they weren't ready at the time, and now they are. You know, thank God that they finally clicked. And I'm probably pestered them enough. We're coming to the bottom of the hour, but I want to talk about a couple things. So one of the things you're saying about the list size and everything, and we're all partners here, right? So we all know, we've been in other people's apps, you know, they're like, well, the 80,000 contacts. I'm like, no, you really have like 20,000, and that's not only 4,000 are engaged, right?
Yeah.
So when people like really ask that question, what size is your list? A lot of these people have that vanity of like, well, I got 80,000 people. I'm like, but their email address is mike@altavista.com. Right?
Right.
Come on. That's from the 90s. So, but I want to, we're going to wrap it up a little bit. But with all this AI stuff going on, now I'm not really an AI guy. I don't have Chat GPT-4. I use Bing and I use Gemini and I do use Chat.
Did you see the look of shock? I went for a
I
second.
did see that.
It's okay though. It's
I
okay.
don't have time for that. And if you guys seen the copy that I wrote, I just write that. I go, do this, give it to me really quick, and I got to put it out there. And I got all this other stuff I got to do. So, but how are you guys approaching because it can do images, it can do videos, all this creepy stuff is coming out. There's some like McDonald's hamburger fighting a pizza guy. How are you guys are applying it right now currently to your business?
You want me to speak first? I use it. I use it probably, I don't know, 30, 50 times a day. I actually have the agency model, so I can do, I think, 100 searches every 2 hours. I think it is. That's how much I use it. I had to upgrade because I was using it too much, and he would lock me out for 2-3 hours. And I was like, it was kind of like living in a world with no social media. I'm like, what do I do with my life? Like now that I don't have access to AI. And here's how I used it. I actually tested it earlier this year. I had been using it, more and more as time went on over the last year. But in March of this year, I took on a client, and I was getting ready to launch my book. And well, I was finishing writing my book, and I was getting ready to launch my book. And I said to him, listen, he had a bunch of stuff that he wanted to do. And I said, listen, here's what I'll do. I'll do a year's worth of marketing in the next 30 days.
Yeah.
So I am literally going to write 108 blogs. I think we wrote 216 emails. We did social media posts 4 days a week, all of that content. And we're moving away from the agency model. So we're a small but mighty team right now. So like, if it weren't for AI, I could have never have done that. And we actually were a week ahead of time on the deadline. So it only took us 3 weeks to do that. And the thing was, it was good. Like there's content you can just push out with AI.
Mm-hmm.
But if you understand how to leverage the tool as an expert, the things you can do is amazing. It really, truly is.
Yeah. AI, I'm currently in the process of going through a 2-week course with two of the top email marketers that leverage AI heavily. And it's mind blowing. Like the content that they put out and that they're teaching in this course, you would never know that it was written by AI. You would think that a top email marketer actually wrote this content. It's all about how you prompt AI. And as Misty said, as you use it more and more, you get to understand its quirks and nuances. So it uses, I use Claude, for a lot of the copywriting because that's, the strongest in that area right now. That probably will change tomorrow. But with Claude, I mean, it has a tendency to use game changer a lot. Imagine this, picture this, here's the kicker. And you start to recognize all of these things, and you can then tweak your prompts so that it sounds more human and that it's actually like, hey, this is really valuable content. And it's not, necessarily depending on also the research that, AI can do for you. It's great for doing research, but you have to have some knowledge. So a lot of times I feed it like, here's a situation that I was just in. Take this story, because I'm not creative. Misty is the creative person here. I am not. I am very cut and dry. Here's the facts, man. Here's the situation I was in. Turn this into an interesting email for me,
Right.
And that's how I leverage AI. And it's worked wonders. Like a blog post that I posted on LinkedIn last week generated a lot of conversation. It wouldn't have if it were just boring me, but I used AI to help make it more engaging.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got the Automated Marketing Summit coming up on September 27th, 2024. And it's going to be from noon Pacific until 2 o'clock. We're all going to go over everything marketing. You're going to definitely want to go to automatedmarketingsummit.com right now. Sign up. It's a free event. And then we're going to have a VIP after party there. You'll learn all of that once you sign up. But how can people find you guys right now if they want to have a chat with you, Misty and Scott? Go ahead, Misty, first.
Okay, so if you just look at Misty Cordes, there's not a lot of Misties out there, to be honest. I figured out, but it's Kortes. I'm on every platform under that name.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. So Scott Hartley, my banner is going to be my book, Hit the Inbox, and you can also go to hittheinboxbook.com. Connect with me there.
All right, great. And I'm Shone, and I am the founder and the host and the voice of the automatedmarketingsummit.com. Go there, sign up now, and you'll see us all then. Thank you.